Hi everyone and welcome back to my yoga. Today I've prepared a class for motocross riders who want to improve their performance, strength and flexibility. Motocross is a one-dimensional, high-impact and repetitive sport with little variation in movement. In order to remain limber, it's important to balance out those harsh and strenuous actions on your bike with some gentle and simple exercises that you can do at home. If you don't complement your riding with off-the-bike training, your body might become stiff and certain muscle groups will become underdeveloped. By strengthening your core and legs, you're going to rely less on your arms, which will help to reduce arm pump. By stretching regularly, your body will become more limber, which will help with injury prevention and recovery. And lastly, the exercises we're about to do will improve your general stamina, which will help you to last longer on race day. There's going to be some more information in the description below. So let's jump straight into it and I'll see you on your mat. Okay, for our first exercise, what you're going to need is a smooth surface and either thick socks or a towel or a blanket. So you can put your feet on that. Coming up into a high plank position. So we all know high plank, great exercise for core. But to make it a little bit more challenging, we will bring our knees in to the chest and then bring them out again. You bring them in and bring them out. Okay, now what you can see is in order to bring your knees in, you have to really push into the hands, hollow out the front line, create a little curve on your upper back so that you can slide your knees up towards the chest. So we call this a cobra hood, so pushing in, really rounding the upper back, making space and pulling the knees in. And you can tell that this is obviously targeting not only your front line, your core, but also your legs, your hip flexors and your arms and your pec muscles. Okay, so you can do about 15 to 20 of those, and then to work into the side core and your oblique muscles, we're going to bring the knees over to the side. And the other one. And then again, you can do about 20 here. And then once you've done your 20, you can come down and relax here for a moment. There's one more variation that I'm going to show you that you can also do, which is bringing the legs up next to your hands. So coming into a little bit of a V shape. So hands will come down, feet will come onto the ground, high plank, and then from here, you're going to bring the legs up and to the side. So these are all targeting pretty much the same muscles, so your core, your legs, your hip flexors, your arms, with just slight little variations. Okay, so 2 to 3 sets, 20 repetitions, on whichever variation that you decide on. And then after that, we can grab our mats and roll them out. Okay, we can also take our socks off. That works better with the rest of the exercises. Okay, so we're not really done with core yet. So we're going to work a little bit more into that because that really forms the foundation of any kind of controlled movement that you want to execute, whether it's on your bike or anywhere else. Core is the most important area of your body to strengthen. So instead of high plank, we're going to come down into a forearm plank, push into the elbows, and again round up your upper back. So you can stay here for say 30 seconds in a static forearm plank, and then after about 30 seconds we want to again work a little bit more into the oblique muscles by lifting the hips up high and then lowering them down to either side of the body with control. And yeah, another 10, 15, 20 reps of this. And then when you are ready, you can just come on down and take a quick break. Close your eyes. Take a few moments to catch your breath or feel your heartbeat. And then coming up onto all fours. Okay, that was our core. Next, we want to focus on our inner thighs. Very important for riders because you're obviously holding onto your bike the whole time, clasping your legs around it. So strengthening the inner thighs is quite beneficial, especially when you're riding for a long time and you want to hold onto your bike. Okay, so you come down onto the right side. Let's start there, elbow onto the ground. The left leg steps over, foot is on the ground, and the right leg is extended. Now flex your right foot and begin to lift the leg up. So there's probably not going to be a very wide range of motion here. You're not going to be able to lift the leg all the way up here. It's quite a small movement, but it's intense, and it targets exactly those adductor muscles that you want to strengthen. So same thing, 20 reps, maybe 3 sets. For all of these exercises, we want to do high reps, low impact. And then after you've done your 20, you can swap out your legs. So now you're going to bend the right leg, left leg is extended, and the toes are pointing forward, foot is flexed. Full engagement throughout the whole length of my leg. And then we're going to lift the leg up here. And that now works the abductor muscles. So abductor muscles are the ones that lift the leg away from you, and the adductor muscles are the ones that pull the leg towards your midline. Just be mindful here that you're not pointing your toes up and you're lifting the leg all the way. You really just want them to point straight ahead. And yeah, we're decreasing the range of motion here again. 20 reps, quick break, another 20 reps, quick break, and so on. Okay, opposite side. First step the right foot over, left leg extends, flex the foot, and lift. And always remember, small, slow movements are always better than quick, jerky movements. You are trying to engage as many muscle fibers as possible, and with quick and jerky movements, you're kind of just working with the big ones that then kick the leg up, and you're not really getting all the benefits from the movement. Okay, 20 reps, swap it out, left leg bends, right leg extends, roll the leg inwards, toes pointing straight ahead, lift the leg. And just generally, whatever exercise you're doing, try to maintain a good engagement through the whole body. So you don't just want to hang out here, you want to keep a bit of engagement going. Okay, about 20, and that's that. All right, so we are moving up into the legs, doing a bit more of that now. So come on up, stand at the top of the mat, and then just take a big step back with your right leg into a lunge position. So bend your back knee, and your front knee is also bent. The knee is supposed to be more or less right above the left ankle. So just take a moment here to find your right stance. Try not to stick the tailbone out here, but rather suck it in, tuck the tailbone under. Okay, so once we've got this, engage the core muscles. And now let's take a big step to the top of the mat. Lift the knee up, and then you can extend the leg, bring it back in, and step back. Okay, let's bring the arms in. So from here, you've got your arms up, take a big step, extend the leg, bring it back in, and step back to your lunge. And again, step forward, leg comes up, extend, bring it in, step back. You can do 10 on each side, nice and slow and with control. And this is not only for strength, but it's also a beautiful way to train your balance on your legs. Once you've had enough here, Step to the top of the mat. Now instead of just going straight into the opposite side, we want to create a bit more fire in the legs. So sit down onto your invisible chair, curl the toes up. Really sit down nice and low here. Now you can take your arms forward. And now really let that heat build up in your legs. You can lean the upper body forward and then take your hands behind, interlace them, open up the chest if you want to add a little stretch here. And now just check again if you're leaning forward and there's too much weight in the toes. Shift the weight back into the heels and sit a little bit lower. And then you can come back up, shake out your legs. And step back with your left leg. Bend your knee. Find your position, check your knee here. Should not overshoot the right foot. Into a nice deep lunge. Tucking the tailbone under, engage the core, and step forward. Bring the knee up, extend the leg, bring it back, and step back. It's a little dip, coming up, extend, bring the leg back, and let's integrate the arms. Stand forward, bring the arms in, knee comes up, foot goes out. There's my joints clicking. Stand up, bring the foot back in, step back, and 10 reps. And we can do each side 2 to 3 times. Okay, step forward, shake out your legs. Last little bit, last exercise that I'm going to show you for strength, and then after that we're going to stretch out those muscles, which I think is more important for you guys than building up strength. All right, for a side lunge or a side squat, we're going to come into a wide-legged stance here, and then bend your right knee and come on down into this one-legged squat. Left leg is extended. Your heel might be up, and most probably is up, which is totally fine. You can also, for a more of a stretchy position, you can bring the heel down, although it's not really adding any value to it, so you can just stay up here and then come over to the other side. So we're not really stretching yet, we're just preparing the legs for this little bit deeper movement. And now we want to become a bit more dynamic. So bend your one leg, walk over, bend your other leg and walk over. Okay. You can either keep on working with your hands, or you can lift your hands and nice and slowly stay as low as you can and just bring the hips low as much as you can. So it requires quite a bit of flexibility on your inner thighs, so you might only come down till here, which is absolutely fine. Ten reps on each side. Quick break, and then maybe another 10. And then when you're ready, you can just come, bring your legs together, shake them out a bit, get ready, have a sip of water, and then we're going to meet right here again for our part 2, our stretches. See you there. Okay, let's get into some stretches. Come on down onto the mat, sit back onto your heels, open up the knees as wide as your mat, maybe a little bit wider. Walk your hands forward and rest your forehead on the ground. And begin immediately to relax the body, especially around the neck, through the whole length of the spine, down into the base of the spine, around your sacrum. Relax into the hips as well. So only when you're really relaxed there, you're allowing your sitting bones to soften towards the heels. And all that this does is it really allows the spine just to relax for a couple moments. So you can think of your spine as the biggest suspension in your body. So when you're on your bike, together with your knees, your spine is absorbing all those impacts. And so this is a really nice way to just give it a break.
Should feel really nice in the lower back as it neutralizes that natural curve in the lower back. So now reach your arms forward, press gently into the palms, into the hands to lower the sitting bones even further down, releasing even more tension in the lower back especially. Fuel your body with some deeper breaths.
And then come on up for a chest and a front body stretch. Walk your hands forward and let the chest melt down to the mat. Forehead comes down and rests. And make sure here that your hips are not moving forward like this. They should stay right above the knees, more or less. And allow the chest and the shoulders to open up here. So all these stretches that I'm showing you, you can obviously stay in them for quite a lot longer, all the way up to 3, 4, 5 minutes, depending on how much time you have. You can come on down and lie on your belly. The longer, the better. Doesn't mean that you have to stay there for half an hour, but a couple of minutes are definitely preferable to a couple of seconds. So rest your left ear on the ground, reach back with your right hand and hold on to your right foot. Nice deep stretch for the quadriceps. If your quadriceps are quite loose, then you can push the pubic bone forward, and with that shorten the front line and putting a bit more tension on the muscle. Alright, let's swap it out. Left hand, bring the right cheek down. And release. Come on back up onto all fours, and then bring your right leg to the front, step it out, lunge into your right leg. And the most important thing here is that you're allowing the hips, your left hip here on this side, to really open and soften. So if you're finding yourself up here, really bend the front knee and allow those hips to sink down. You can bring your hands onto the mat, or you can keep them up here. If you've got them on your knee, you are going to feel the stretch a little bit deeper in your hip flexors. So remember the hip flexors that we were using in our high plank, and we were sliding the legs in and out. So that's what we are counterbalancing now, opening up this area. If you want to take it even slightly further, bring your left hand out, lean a bit over to the right. And you can come back again. Okay, from our lunge, all you're doing is you're going to push the hips back now. You might have to walk the front foot a little bit forward for a half split. Okay. So for people that are extremely inflexible, which a lot of guys are, don't worry, you're not alone. Your hamstrings might be super short, in which case you won't even be able to straighten out the knee here. that's absolutely fine. You can keep your knee bent if you need to. You can even take something to place under your hands here, maybe books or whatever you can find, to prop yourself up a little higher. If you can touch the ground, bring your fingers down. If you can straighten out your legs, then straighten it out. And to work into the calf as well, flex your foot, draw the toes to the shin, and try to bring the chest down rather than trying to touch your knee with your nose. Super important, because this is not really doing much, but the moment I press my chest down, I immediately feel how the stretch really intensifies here. And to make it even more intense, you can push the heel down into the ground and create some traction by pulling the hip back. Okay, so pulling the toes back intensifies the stretch in your calf. Pushing the heel down, pulling it back will make it a little bit tighter in your hamstrings and under the knee here. So this sequence I'm showing you now, from the lunge into this half split, and next we're going to come into a runner's lunge, is my favorite quick leg stretch. It's 3 different moves and they work into all sorts of different areas of the back side of the legs and the front side. And if you've got time for only those 3, I would definitely recommend do those because they are really quick, short and sweet, and fantastic for your leg muscles. Okay, next, bend your front knee again, bring your right leg on the inside now, point your toes slightly out, about 45 degrees, and again, let those hips become soft. You can bring your hands down and just stay here. Or you can come a little bit up, bring your hand onto the outside, give it a gentle push here, nothing too hectic. Or you can even come down onto the forearms, if that feels good. So remember that every day is different. Sometimes you might feel it, sometimes you might not. So after a strenuous session, your body might be a little bit tight. So just keep those little nuances in mind when you do go through your stretches. So this one you should feel here in your hip, your glute muscles and your hip flexors again. If you want to once more work into the quadriceps here, the ones that we did in the beginning, you can take your right hand, reach back and hold on to your foot. This is a very deep stretch though, so not accessible for everyone. Just try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Keep your leg down. This is only an option. And then when you're ready, release it slowly, sit back, bring your leg back in again, maybe come down into a child's pose just for a couple breaths. Rest. And then let's move into the other side. Come on up, bring your left leg forward. Slowly bend your left leg, extend the right. Whenever we are moving in and out of stretches, we're going to do that very slowly and mindfully to prevent injury. Normally injury during those kind of exercises happen when we are moving too fast, or too quickly into certain positions. And we can totally avoid that by just moving slowly and picking up that certain movement is not for you before any damage is done. You can come up onto your hands here. And then just like we did on the other side, you can bring your arm up, lean slightly to the side. And then come on back for a half split. Just push the hips back. You don't need to change much else. Maybe crawl the foot a little bit further forward. Set it up And then come on down into a gentle fold. Remember, you can keep your knee bent here. You can keep your hands elevated. And if there's some more space, come on down into a fold. Push the heel down, draw the toes back if you want a bit more. So think of your muscles as rubber bands. Just to answer that question, why stretching? Because it sucks. It's what I hear over and over from so many people, especially guys. The reason is that your muscles, if you think of them as rubber bands, what happens if they become tight and almost dried out and you put very quick tension on them, they tend to rupture. But if your rubber band is nice and fresh and supple, and you put some tension on them, they just go with it. They just stretch. And that's sort of what we want to achieve with our muscles as well. So the more limber you are, the less prone you are to injuries when you come off your bike, and also during your training in general. So it is a form of injury prevention. It can also help with healing existing injuries. Okay, come on forward, bend your front knee, bring your left hand on the inside as well. Walk your foot out, 45 degrees in the front foot. And we're softening the hips again here. Remember to either stay on your hands or you can come into a twist. You can allow the foot to roll onto the outer edge, or you can come down onto your forearms. A good measure of whether you are moving a bit too far into your stretch or not is when you are pulling faces. Then you normally know that you are pushing it a little bit too far, you're clenching your teeth, or you've got some frown lines on your forehead. Then maybe back off a little bit and take it a bit more easy. Okay, and then lastly, if you want to bend your knee again, reach back with your left hand. And come on out, release, relax, step back. Very quick child's pose, just 4-5 breaths. All right, come on up and sit back. Swing the legs forward, and to work a little bit more into the hip, we are going to bring the left leg, crossing it over the right knee, and then bring your foot up. Okay, so this is our seated figure 4. If you have any kind of pre-existing injuries in your knee, then you might just see how this feels. If it doesn't feel good, then sit it out or find another way that you can stretch into your glute muscle. You can just leave me a comment if you want to. I can see what I can do. And if you've just got a little bit of a discomfort in your knee, you can try and protect it a bit by flexing the foot here, really activating the left foot. If it feels good and there's no problem, you can maybe bring the chest a little bit closer to the shin. And from here we want to come straight into a spinal twist, giving the spine a bit of love as well. So instead of releasing everything, just bring the legs over to the side just as they are. If you need to extend this bottom leg because this position is not comfortable, then you can do that. Otherwise, see if you can keep the position of your legs exactly as they are. Wrap your left arm around your knee here. Take your right arm wraps around the left knee and your left hand comes behind. Take a breath in, really lift through the spine, and then on your breath out, you can twist over your left shoulder. And we'll stay for about 5, 6, 7 deep breaths. And you almost feel like your body is lifting when you breathe in. And as you exhale, you can maybe soften just a little bit more. Do that a couple times. And coming back to center. Okay, before we come into the opposite side, come on down into a seat, a cross-legged seat. So try out to come into this cross-legged seat rather than this normal one. So here we've got our legs pretzeled, but they're on top of each other. For the a bit more beneficial cross-legged seat, which is this one, you're going to try and bring your shins down as much as possible and align the heels as much as possible as well. Now bring your left arm, cross it over the chest, bring your right arm underneath and just pull your arm across here and pull the left shoulder down and back. So we're stretching the deltoid muscle on the left shoulder and the biceps, but mostly the deltoid. And for the same arm, you can release it. Now bring the left arm up, immediately hold on to the elbow with your right arm and pull it over. So this is more of a triceps stretch. So obviously you can hold these for a bit longer. Take your right arm, cross it over. Remember to draw the shoulder down and back. And you can also take whichever exercise firstly feels best for you, but also seems most beneficial, and work out your own little sequence of stretches that you want to do maybe at night before you go to bed or after a long ride, and just implement them into your training as well. Just make it part of your training. So stretching eventually should be like brushing your teeth. It's something that you're not necessarily enjoying, but you just do it because you have made it a habit, and also you know it's good for you in the long run. Okay, swap it out. Right arm goes up, hold on to your elbow, bring it over. You can hold it for a bit longer, or you can release. Okay, now we need to balance out the right side. So cross your right leg over your left knee, slide your left foot up, and then bring the chest close to your right shin. Flex your foot if you want to protect your knee. If you're cool, then you can just relax the foot. And you can always move around a little bit to check out where you feel the stretch the most. So by moving around, you can kind of tell which muscle pulls where and what the stretch really does to the body. So here, you should feel a nice juicy stretch on your right hip. Push the chest forward, try not to collapse into the chest. And for the spinal twist, don't release your legs just let them come on over. Keep your left leg in or extend it. Choice is yours. Take this time your left arm, wrap it around, your right arm comes behind. Take an inhale, really lift up here. Exhale, twist. Try to look over your right shoulder. 5, 6, 7 long breaths. And release. Okay, bring your legs forward, just give them some love. Shake them out, shake the hips, shake the legs. And for our last position that you can do at home, if you've got a wall available, highly recommend this position because it's passive, so you can really fully relax, and also stretches the inner thighs, which we have discovered we use quite a lot during riding. So these guys here. You want to bring your bum as close to the wall as possible, and then just let the legs open. Rest your spine. Nice thing here is your spine is straight because the gravity is sorting out the legs for you, so you don't have to use and work any muscle in your body. You can really fully relax. So these are some of my favorite exercises that work into crucial muscle groups for motocross riders to keep them strong and flexible. You can consider this a set sequence that you can come and follow along with me, or you can chop and change it to suit your own needs. If there are any positions or stretches that feel particularly painful or uncomfortable because you've had an injury, then rather be safe and exclude those from your workout routine. I'm going to be releasing another video on race day preparation soon with some dynamic stretches and nutritional advice. So stay tuned and make sure not to miss out on that by subscribing to my channel. So I wish you good luck for your next race, and I'll see you on your mat again soon.